Good morning, good evening, everyone out there. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sure you will have a great time with this Q&A with our friend and director, Danish Renzu from Kashmir, who's going to talk about his movie, The Illegal, which is a wonderful movie. I really highly recommend you see this movie. It is a beautiful, beautiful movie. Danish, good evening,
Good
and
evening.
thank you for being with us. And I will leave you in the good hands of Chris Krisa, who will be moderating this Q&A. Thank you,
Thank,
Chris. Thank
thank
you,
you. Thank
Danish.
you so much, George.
I
Thank you.
will see you very soon. And as I said earlier, just between you and I, November 21, that's 2021, we will have your new movie, God Willing.
Sure.
So
Yes,
happy
God
birthday to
willing.
all and stay safe and be good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, George.
Welcome.
Pleasure.
Danish, well,
Yes.
I'm excited to
Hi.
talk to you about this because it's been such a beautiful movie. I mean, everything worked. Everything was flowed. The characters were interesting. The ups and downs were well set up and didn't it kept moving quickly. So we had so many different experiences. But when, as an audience, we're asked to suspend disbelief, and sometimes films cross that line for me, and I'm sure for others. But never here, never. Everything flowed. So I want to talk about your writing first because that's where it all starts. And your characters are beautiful. The scenes worked. Can you tell me how long did it take to write that, and what was your inspiration for it?
The Illegal, it's a very special film because it's definitely based on my own real experience being an immigrant in the US. I came back in 2005 as a student in the US, and I came here to pursue education here. So, and through that journey, being a student here, being an immigrant, being an international student, I met so many wonderful people from various, diverse backgrounds, and I just realized, and I saw a new side to America. Usually American dream is all about glitter and glamour, but I realized there's a lot more to it. And also, working in the restaurants, doing so many jobs as a student, you meet so many other fellow immigrants too, and you learn to know more about them and their stories and how did they come to US and their journey. And I was fascinated by so many immigrants, and something common that they all shared was actually, um, struggles and sacrifices behind making their dreams come true in America. And it was not always easy. It was not always what people think American dream was all about. So inspiration was definitely based on real people and my own experience as an immigrant in the U.S. Fortunately, I had a wonderful opportunity to go to my favorite school. I wanted to go to UCLA. I got in and I pursued my dreams, but there were other people that I know, a lot of immigrants who were not able to, reach their dreams or um, had to drop out for various reasons. Maybe basic, mostly their families back home, and it was a lot of pain, sacrifice, and survival stories that I found sort of a common thread among all these immigrants and people I met. So I wrote Illegal back in 2012. It's been a long time. It was one of my first screenplay that I wrote because it was so fresh. I just graduated and I went to this wonderful UCLA writers program and I had to write a screenplay. And this is the first story that came out. And so since then, I never knew that this film will happen. I remember it took me, I think, probably 3 4 months to put a full draft together, but it was only back in 2017 when finally, when I was pitching this project to various producers and all, it got picked. And it's so wonderful, it's so relevant. It's like right now the film has come out, it released in December, and it's so relevant right now. This topic about immigration and empathy, towards people from diversity and various backgrounds. So I think it just all happened for a reason. But inspiration is definitely my own experience and also people I met, living the immigrant dream in America.
Well, when you presented that first draft to your teacher, and William Moses, who played the teacher in the movie, did such a wonderful job.
Yeah, William Moses. He's a wonderful actor. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Did you? What was your feedback when you got it? Gave them the first draft.
I mean, everyone connected to the script right away because they felt like it was very real. They felt like the characters were real, and also, as you know, there are so many people who can connect to it right away because they've lived through this journey what my protagonist Hassan goes through. So I think the reaction always I got the same note that it's so real, it's authentic, and you should definitely pursue it. You should definitely go and finish it. So it was always very positive, and it happened when it was supposed to happen.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Speaking of the American Dream, we cut to the end of the movie when you were interviewing different people about their experience in America, and I thought, what was the name of the actor who played the dishwasher at the end when you asked him, is this what you thought your life would be when?
Chandan's character, right? Played
Yeah.
by Shyam. Yeah, so that's Hassan's film that he finally makes at the end. Even though he was not able to go through an ideal sort of scenario of going to best film school and getting a degree and making a film, he makes a film with his handicam about the people he meets in the restaurant. The film is about immigrants. The film is about their real stories, and you see that at the end when he finally says that I found my story, and all these people you finally and it was all improvised. I had my lead actor Suraj just ask them these questions. What did you think when you come to America? Is this what you wanted? And they just improvise. And luckily, all these actors are also immigrants. Basically, the guy who played the dishwasher is also from I think he's from Sri Lanka. Then we have another actor, from Korea. And there's one Middle Eastern too. So it was fascinating that it all became so real and something that people can connect to. And it's also Hassan's story, Hassan's movie that he ends up making.
Yes, just the expression on his face when you asked him that
The
question.
silence. Yes.
Yeah, just said the whole thing, and the pain, the weight of those decisions, and was this right? And it's not what I expected. And is that what you ran into mostly among people that you knew at that point in time, that they were kind of beaten down?
Yeah, I mean, there are success stories, of course. There are success stories of people who have achieved so much, have started for nothing. But there are also stories of people who haven't been able to reach their goals, who had to sacrifice for the sake of their family or various scenarios. So yes, I've met these people, and that's what my character also ends up, in that circumstances. Like Babaji is his mentor, his idol, and he has to sacrifice. He couldn't go back for 25 years back to India. And Hassan ends up in the same situation, but Hassan does pursue his dream. He makes his film, even though, as I said, it's not an ideal world, but he ends up making films about the people around him. So yes, this is the side of America that people need to see and empathize with these people because everyone has a story, and it might not be the ideal story that you've always imagined when you associate American dream with immigrants coming to America. There's also a lot of struggles and pain, and so I think that's something that I want to capture in this film specifically.
So when you'd finished writing it, were you ever tempted, as you're finishing it, to have the character, Suraj's character, present it to William Moses, and or just walk into the class and what do you think, or get some feedback on it from tie him back into that school and into making a film through there?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you always have these ideas that you want feedback, you want to, like you're talking about the ending, right? Have a
Right.
positive ending. That,
Right.
yeah. So I mean, we did have scenes that we shot where Hassan buys a camera, Hassan goes to the beach, he rides Babaji's truck, all those stuff. But I think when we were on the edit table and we saw these stories of immigrants and all, I really thought that my film was not about that. My film was more about um, the journey of an immigrant, and also um, something more hard hitting and real rather than what people want to see, because that's something that we've seen films with success stories, and this was more about the reality of American dream that people don't know of. So I think even though people might think it's not an amazing positive ending, I still feel like Hassan just making his film and pursuing his dream with that film that we see at the in the end credits is already very optimistic, and also sort of right away foretells a success story, you know.
Right, right. Now, Babaji, for example, I mean, 25 years of struggle to get back home and never making it. And Iqbal Keba did such a wonderful job. I mean,
Oh, Iqbal Theba is fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
lovable.
so lucky to get him.
Who didn't cry when Suraj called through Skype, called his daughter, and several times. I mean, the film brought, I'm sure, everybody to tears many times. I know it did me. But now I want to ask, in your culture, uh, I saw once when I was there on an underpass graffiti that said, "Life is 10% how you make it and 90% how you take it." And,
Correct.
and here in the United States, it would be reversed. If you know, if you're not making it, it's your fault, you know,
Correct.
and just get out there and do more. And so is that pretty much the accepted philosophy in India, that we accept what comes, and we're blessed with whatever we have? We'll try to change it, but go ahead.
I mean, of course, there are so many different scenarios, different point of views to this particular notion. But for Babaji specifically, it was more about his status in America, his dependency on Jay Ali, the character, the Khan character, and him providing for his family back in India. And this is the American dream that he wanted to pursue, where he was working in the restaurant, but he was earning well enough when he converted to INR, Indian rupees. It's a lot more, and his family was surviving on this. So, um, but he did want to go back home. It was not something that he wanted to, do for the rest of his life. He did sacrifice so many years for his family because this was a better opportunity for him, which he couldn't probably find in India. You know, uh, so I wouldn't say that this is something that's very sort of common in the culture, Indian culture. But this is one side to it, where I've met so many immigrants in US who probably couldn't go to the best film schools or best universities here, but ended up working in the restaurants, and whatever money they could earn, they send it back to their families back in the villages in India, or So that's what the Babaji's character sort of was for me, based on real, true characters, real people who have gone through similar stories.
Yes,
Does that
yes.
answer my question?
In one more
Yeah.
about that decision and that character. I remember in India knowing a tailor who didn't have enough money for lights in this village. So at night he'd sit with a candle, and he'd work on the shirts and pants that were bringing or wanted done. And he would, at one point, he saved enough money to go home. He'd been away from home, his wife and children, for quite a while, but he didn't have enough money for gifts, so he wasn't going to go. And that brings us into perspective of, is that a like a common perspective there, that you don't show up without gifts? Because when Suraj arrived at his uncle's and aunt's house,
Yes,
that was
yes.
brought up
It's
too.
very cultural. Yeah, it's very cultural thing where you are expected to bring gifts. There's certain, you know, sort of, I would say, sort of obligations as well. There's something part of the system, the culture that has been going on for so long,
Right.
where people are offended if they're not getting presents, or sort of an obligation. Same with the father. Now he's in US, like Babaji's character, and he's supposed to provide for the family back home, and it's sort of an obligation.
Right.
He has to take care of the daughter. He has to pay, and whatever it entails, if he has to work in the restaurant and not go back to his home country and sacrifice all his life for this, he will do it, because the man of the house is the notion, where you have to be the breadwinner. You have to provide for your family. So it's yeah. So yeah, it is a sort of an obligation for men. Now things are changing, and women are equal standing with men now. Things are changing, but this is still part of a culture, I would say. Especially in South Asia, where sort of men are, supposed to provide and take care of the family, and and for that they can do, they
Okay.
can they end up sacrificing their lives as well, or
And
their dreams, I would say.
you established the heart of the film, and it was a film with so much heart, and with the Shweta Tripathi and Nalim Azim and Adil Hussain, the family was, an
Fantastic
ideal
acting.
family, and that's, from my experience, that is the culture there. I mean, there's so much love and so much connection. I met a movie star once. He was about 35, and he was still living at home. He wasn't,
Correct.
he had all kinds of money, but living in Mumbai, living at home, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a very close-knit society, and families are very close-knit. They live together. There's no like sort of what in US, after 21, you're gone. You have to be independent and all. But here, people live together, families live together, and it's part of the culture, and it's beautiful. You're all there together for each other, and I really like it. I think it's fantastic that families are so close and there for each other. Um,
How do you feel then living in the United States, for those
Well, I mean, it's a choice, right? I mean, I wanted to go there. I wanted to study. I wanted to be someone. I wanted to work hard. I wanted to do something that none of my family members did. No one had been to US before, and I got an opportunity, and I grabbed it. And I'm very grateful to the country, and also I was able to pursue my dreams and meet wonderful people, and get wonderful opportunities. So, um, for me, I just love being independent. I love being a dreamer, going out there and taking all the challenges. Have to cook yourself, have to wash your clothes, which we're so not used to. And growing up in this part of the world, it's so different. But I think it's beautiful. It's amazing. It makes you more mature. It makes you independent, and you can adjust anywhere. Once you live in America, I feel like it makes you stronger.
right, right. Now, in casting, like Suraj Sharma, who did such a wonderful job, how uh, how do you make a decision on a character that's in almost every scene, and has to have so many
No,
colors?
this script was written for Suraj Sharma in mind, because I watched Life of Pi long time back, and I was like in love with his performance. It was so nuanced, it was so real, there was so much catharsis in everything he did, and so much express. His eyes are so expressive. And when I wrote this character, I was like, this has to be Suraj, because the age group also, matched with Suraj's age. At the same time, he also graduated from film school during the same year when we were trying to pitch this project to him. So he was always number one option for this film. When he said yes, you have no idea how happy I was, because like, oh my god, this is who I wanted. I wanted Suraj to play this part, and he did it. It was just he's such a wonderful actor. It's a dream for any director to work with such great talent, so professional, so prepared, and also he brings so much uh, on set. Very easy to work with. So I think it was always written with Suraj in mind, and we were so lucky that we got him right away.
And how many films had you done before you did this film?
Oh, so I've done a lot of short films, but I also did one more feature, which also happened simultaneously when Illegal happened. That was based in Kashmir, called Half Widow, and it got really good reviews, went to really good festivals, about a Kashmiri woman and her journey in the conflict zone when her husband disappears. So both films sort of happened and started at the same time, and both are very, very special to me. Yeah.
Okay. Because oftentimes with a successful actor, when they're asked to do a film with a director they don't know, there's a fair risk there. And so was he familiar with the rest of your work, or he just loved the
Yeah, of
script?
course, of course, and also I think the script was so good. I mean, we had already like such a great cast and crew on board, so it was. I think the script really helped us to get the talent we wanted. We had worked really hard on the script and get it to a point where it was ready to shoot,
Right.
and pitch to actors. So I think the script really helped us.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
think so.
and
Yeah,
script is everything anyway.
it is. It really is. Yeah. And
Yeah,
yours was wonderful. Now,
thank you.
speaking about characters, like the cook, is it Danny Vasquez?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Now I mean, he's kind of the dark side, being of course the restaurant owner. But in casting that, what scenes did you have him do? so you can see.
We had a wonderful casting director, Sabrina Hyman, who was on board, and it was very. So we got a lot of options and auditions once we submitted the script to our casting director, and when we saw Danny and he improvised one of the scenes of that we that's not in the ending part, but it was more about his immigrant life and his journey and why he is the way he is. And it was so fascinating to see so much sincerity in the character and his audition that right away I was like, that's our guy. That's the one who's gonna play this part. I think I'm very grateful to a very good casting director who got us the right actors right away, where we had no other option but to cast them because they were so good. Same with like Julie Lee, who played Emmy, is one of my favorite characters as well. And her audition was actually this something that we see in the end of the film when her monologue when she talks about her plight and her not being able to go back to Korea because her daughter is American. And I think even her audition was the same monologue where she was being told to improvise about her immigrant journey. So I think they were fantastic actors, really, and I should just thank my casting director for the same. Yeah.
Yes, I remember watching Julie Lee and thinking that sure felt improv. It felt so real because
Yes.
the colors she brought. Wow, wow. Where did he find
Fantastic.
these people? Yeah. Now speaking
Really
of
good
finding
actor.
people,
So much talent.
Jay Ali. Now,
Yes. Fantastic actor. I
wow.
knew him for a very long time. I wanted to work with him. Long time back when I started my first short film in US, and I wanted to cast him, but that time it didn't work out. I saw him. I had him audition for that short film, my first short film, In Search of America. It was shot in LA, and I auditioned him for that. And I was like, I really want to work with him. So fantastic. But that didn't work out because he's between London and LA. So this time when this character was written and we were casting for it, I already had JLE in mind. So we directly reached out to him and it all worked out. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And so the only casting that was done here was with Hannah, who
Yeah,
played.
everything was done in LA. Yeah. Hannah. Yeah. Oh, Hannah. Yeah. She's also, it's her debut role. Same with the casting director. We got so many options for Jessica character. And when I saw Hannah, I was like, this is it. It was so real and it was so beautiful and it just fit the part right away. And it's her debut. She's done a really good job. People are loving her um, performance. And again, thanks to our casting director. Yeah, it's a good ensemble. I feel like all the cast we did for the film have really played a really, I would think, have contributed towards the story so well, and they gel in so well with their parts.
My compliment in her part to the writing. Everybody wants to see the love interest work out, and you did so much foreshadowing when you're sitting on the beach talking to her, and Sharma's talking to her, and he's concerned about making it, and she says, "Well, it'll all work out. It always does. My dreams always work out." And he said, "What are you going to do when you graduate?" "Well, I'm going to travel, go to Paris,"
Travel,
and you could
yeah.
just so well feel that right there. It's pretty obvious we got a pretty big divide here in cultures. Yeah.
Yeah, also culture. Also, my idea to cast her was also bringing two worlds together. I really believe in diversity. I really believe in bringing people together. So here I had this South Asian character Hassan, and then I had Hannah, and I want to see the impossible. I want to see the love bloom between the two and bring people together. So I think that's the reason for having that particular character from totally different world as from Hassan's, but also that it's possible to connect even though you're two different people. Sometimes you just fall. Love is love. There's no language to it. But there's also one more motive behind this character. She also represented American dream, which Hassan can't have, you know. And she's one of those. She could be one of those actors from Hollywood movies that Hassan always wanted to sort of wrote about, watched in his film schools and all. But it's just something that he can never have. And you see that when he breaks up with her, there's a voiceover that says, sometimes you just have to walk away from your dreams. Uh, and that's what she represented, the American dream that Hassan is unable to live fully.
When you watch the film or when you think about the film, is there you have to make so many choices when you're making a film,
Yeah.
and 1,000 choices, and is there a part of the film that you love passionately, and a part that you would, well, if I could do it over, maybe I would make a different choice here?
This film is a blessing. I also produced it with my fellow producer, and it was very difficult to raise the funds and finish the film on time. We were struggling to get this film together because it was not done by a studio or something. It was independently produced by me and Tara Tucker, my co-producer, and we had very limited resources. And this is the best we could do with what we had, and we really worked hard. We had amazing AFI, mostly AFI grads were involved in our crew, and they were amazing. So I think we could have done a lot more. We could have shot 10 more days, but we didn't have those resources. So I think with what we had, we also flew to Delhi. We shot there 3 days. I got one of the wonderful ensemble on board, and they're all wonderful actors, and they all believe in the script. They were not doing this for money. It was all passion. It was all love. So I think if I think of doing, there's so many things I would have been able to do if we had the resources. But I think this is a lot of hard work and effort of so many people involved to bring this to reality. So I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with the product, and I really believe in it. I think it's also very relevant than anything else. The character Hassan, any immigrant can relate to. I remember we also premiered at Austin Film Festival, and I went to the screenings, and I had people around me sitting watching the film, and they were not, they didn't know I was the director of the film, and they were totally with Hassan. They're mostly immigrants. They were with Hassan's journey. They were like screaming at Mamu Jan, the uncle character, when he shows up at the restaurant again. So I could see that there was so much connect. People were so connected to it, and I think that right away we did our job. I think if people can connect to it, people can relate to Hassan's character and understand his journey. I think we're just very grateful that whatever we've done, we're just very proud of it. And this is the best we could have, been able to do. And I think everyone has worked really hard to bring this to reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Why did you go to Delhi? Was it written in there, or was there another reason?
Yes, yes. Also, Hassan's world, we want to see that, where he comes from. And this Darya Ganj in Delhi is so cinematic. And also all the actors, they're based in India. So instead of flying them all the way to US and then not be able to create, of course, Delhi, we didn't have that much resources. Hassan's world was very important for the film in the beginning. So I wanted to introduce that. So we went to Delhi and shot it there. And there was no Hassan in that schedule. So everything we see is through Hassan's camera, which is also so much fun because we couldn't fly Hassan because of all the SAG and all that, rules and stuff. So it was just so good and actually worked for the script, better. Hassan not having there and everything through his camera, like how he interviews his family, his sister. He was never there. So I really wanted to show Delhi. It's so beautiful, it's so cinematic, and I think it added so much to the film. Yeah.
Yeah, it was such beautiful scenes. And a question about that: when you're shooting street scenes in Delhi,
Yeah.
now do you have to get permits and releases, or can you
Yeah,
just?
yeah, yeah. Of course, we need permits, but it's very difficult because it's so crowded. It's so crowded, right?
Yeah.
And it was super hot. We shot it in July, and it's the hottest time in Delhi, and we were like literally like burned. It was so freaking hot. It was very chaotic, but we had good team there, good production that handled everything, and they made things happen. But the street sequences were very, very tough to execute. Now, the good thing that we had was that while we were shooting these people, it was okay if they looked in the camera because our protagonist Hassan, everything, all those shots are through his camera's point of view. So if he's walking around the street, of course, people are going to look at him. So that didn't, bother us, and that was actually went to actually was a good thing. That if we had to block all that and coordinate all that, that no one looks at the camera and stuff, it would have been a nightmare to shoot all that because it was so much to handle. As you know, it's a very populous city in the world. So it was, but it was fun. It was fun. My crew from US, LA crew, my DOP, my producer, they all flew to Delhi. It was their first time, so they loved it. They were fascinated by the culture in this part of the world. Yeah.
Rightly so. It's such an amazing culture. I mean, you can step back 100 years pretty easily in a small village, or you can go to the big cities. And what I found in the culture is the kindness of the people. I mean, so many places advertise themselves as the friendly people, the friendly island, whatever. Come visit, come visit, and there's a lot of those out there. But the level of
Tourism
love,
also,
the
yeah,
level of heart,
correct,
wonderful. Yeah.
correct.
Now, where is the film now? What's coming up for the film?
So yes, so we started a festival journey since last year. As you know, we also premiered at Asian Film Festival, also very good festivals. And then because of COVID in March, our film got, all the distribution, all the conversations, what we were pursuing, got on hold, of course. And now we had a theatrical release. Nova Vento Entertainment took over the film, and we released in December 4th. We It was very limited screenings, limited theatrical release. As you know, most of the theaters are shut right now. So the film is going to come digitally on VOD starting January 12th for a couple of months, and then it's going to come on TVOD after that, and worldwide will be available. So Vision Films is on board as a main distributor in America, and I have a distributor in India called the Runaway Luminosity, who are taking care of the exploitation of film, and then Nova Vento is our theatrical distributor. So film is going to go out now. People are going to come to know about it. We're going to watch it, and January 12th is when our VOD will begin in US and Canada. Yeah,
Okay,
so it's going to be available on all the platforms. Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful. Is there anything that you want to share with the audience now, whether it be the filmmakers in the audience or just the general audience, about the film, about your purpose, about film in general?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of heart to and a lot of efforts and hard work put into this film. It was not an easy journey to bring this film together, and I think it's very relevant, and also people must watch it because they should know this side of American Dream. Not There's not always glitter and glamour behind American Dream. There's a lot more to it, and that you can see through Hassan's journey. It's actually based on real people, their real stories, and they are true heroes because they sacrifice so much for their loved ones, and also leaving their home, for a better future for their family is already it's so heartwarming and real, and at the same time very relevant. So um, I think people should watch the film and have more empathy towards people who are not able to sort of make their dreams come true in an ideal way. Especially the people who have uh, who have done so well in the US, especially immigrants. They should watch the film too and appreciate the efforts of people who are still trying, still surviving, and trying to pursue their dreams. So I think it's very relevant, and it's the film that people should definitely watch right now when there's so much hatred, there's so much bigotry, there's so much the world needs compassion and love right now. So that's what this film is all about. Yeah.
Wonderful. Let me ask, for you personally, I like to ask people that come here to this country, what surprised them when they came here initially, in a good way? What surprised them in a shocking way or a bad way?
Well, you'll be shocked. When I was applying, so I went to Pasadena City College first, and it was my first time coming to US. I'd never seen this part of the world ever. And when I was researching on US and before I came, I saw pictures of Vegas. I saw pictures of those beautiful buildings and skyscrapers and all that. But the reality was way different when I came to US, and I went to college and I worked. I had two, three jobs on campus, off campus, and I realized this is not what I thought America is all about. There's a lot more to it. It's not an easy, place to survive, especially for people who come from outside. It is a place of opportunity, but one has to really strive and struggle to get there. And so yeah, so what I thought about Hollywood Boulevard and all those streets, I think US is much more than that, and I think that's what this film is all about. You see the real face of immigrant journey. Yeah.
Mhm. So, as in the movie, did you have issues with getting to class on time and being able to do enough things to stay in the class and continue? and pay your bills? Was that a constant issue, all those for you?
Yeah, it is, right? Once you come from middle class family, of course, you need to have so many jobs to make sure you survive and you're able to pursue your dreams. But I was able to get to my dream school. I wanted UCLA. I was able to get a great job after I graduated. I was able to make this film. I've done another film. So but there are people who haven't been able to. So I think the film is about them.
Right.
Uh, Also, especially the ones who had to drop out. I remember I was working in a restaurant back in 2005, and there are a lot of students there who had recently come and they were working there. And now, like even now, recently I went to the same restaurant, and some of the people are still working there. Back in 2005, and they had to drop out from their school, and that's right there, Hassan's story. So it's
Yeah.
real,
Right.
and I think not everyone is able to pursue their dreams. Not everyone is lucky to, live the American dream to its fullest. So I think it's time to sort of see these stories as well and appreciate their journey.
All right. Danish Renzu, thank you so much for your time and for the
Thank you so
beautiful
much.
pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you.